All right, so today we need to retap these threads in the exhaust port on a small engine. And I'm going to show you how I do it. So here's our engine, and right here is where the exhaust was. The problem we were having was these got stripped out over time because the exhaust rattles loose on these machines, and then they get retightened, and then it rattles loose, and then retightened more, and eventually these studs will either break or they get really loose inside. And just from all the years of repair, these ports here are now stripped out and the threads don't go in properly anymore. They just spin around in there. So we're going to retap those, and I'm going to show you how to put your own fresh new studs back in there. Now, before we go any further, if you have a stud in there that's broken and you need to get it out, here's what I did. I took a Dremel, I carved a little groove in there, and let's say it was in the hole there. I took a screwdriver and I just backed it out. That's how I got that out. But these are now stripped out. So we're gonna put new ones on. If you have a tap and die kit and it looks a mess like this, basically what you have to do is take the nut that fit on that old thread, and you're going to have to go through each one of these and find one that this will thread onto. Alright, so the one I need, I think, is right here. Now you know you'll have the right one when the nut you had that screwed onto the original stud will be able to screw onto this here. There you go. See how that threads right on? It's nice and tight. So you simply take this, and you want to try to thread it in here the best you can. Alright, now it's getting a little bit tight in there. Then you take a socket drive. There is a tool that comes with these also, a little T-handle. But you put a socket drive on there, and then you just want to crank this in. Okay, and if it gets real tight, nothing you can do is back off a little bit, and then turn some more. And then you want to back off a little bit and turn some more. And you want to work this all the way in. So basically what you're doing is creating new threads there for our new stud to go in. Take the nut that originally came off of your old stud. If you don't have any extra ones laying around, you want to go up to Home Depot, and what you want to do is find a bolt that this will thread onto. Alright, so I had already ran there and got these, and it threads onto these good. So what we're going to do is, and try to get something with either a something you can put a socket on the top or a screwdriver, because now we're going to thread this into our block here. First, we're going to get some red thread locker, and we are going to put it onto our stud here. Now this isn't going to go all the way down in, so we don't need to do the whole bolt. Now we're going to thread that down in there. It's nice and tight. Then we're going to crank it in even more. Alright, now what you want to do is you want to get yourself a Dremel or something with a cutting wheel, and you guessed it, we're going to cut the head right off of there. That's going to give us a new stud. We can go ahead, slide our exhaust on, and then put the nuts on there. I got both of them in, they're nice and tight. I got the exhaust port, stuck a rag in there. We don't want any metal shavings going in there when we cut. That would be real nice for the motor. And now we're going to take the Dremel and we're going to cut the heads off of these. And make sure you wear safety glasses. Alright, you can see the heads are cut off now. Now when you go to try to put your nuts on here, you may get a little bit of resistance because this is going to be a little burred up. I typically like to just take a file and just go over the top of it and slightly on an angle to get any burrs that are on there so that your nut will start threading on. It may take a little bit of pressure when you're first turning that nut on, but then it'll break free once it gets past these rough edges here. All right, so now we are going to put our exhaust back on here. Then we'll take some thread locker, put it on here, and then we're going to take the nuts and screw them on there. Now, one thing you want to note is make sure that this nut does thread onto that stud. Because what's going to happen is you're going to start threading it on, right? And it's going to bind up right at the top. And then you're going to try to back it off, and you can't because it's caught on a burr. So then when you put a socket on there to take this off, it's going to loosen up that stud and all your thread locker you just put on. Now that's going to be loose again. Now you have no way to tighten the stud because you already cut the head off, right? So I had already filed these down a little bit and rounded them off. So I know that mine fits on there. See, it threads on. But let me back it off. What I did was I took the Dremel and I put little flathead grooves on there just in case these things had to be tightened with the screwdriver. All right, because once your exhaust is on there, you're not going to be able to get back in there. Not on this motor anyway, because there's a bagger system that literally goes right here and you can't get back in there. So let this dry for a little while. Walk away from it, let these set in, but make sure that these are threading on before you go sliding that exhaust on and trying to tighten this on. Because when you go to try to back this off, if you have to, you're going to loosen up that stud again if these aren't dry. And you're going to have to repeat the whole process all over again. And that's what it looks like when it's all said and done. Exhaust is nice and tight now. I just wanted to show you how you would retap that head there and put your own bolts in there in case you're stumped and you're online trying to find new studs and you can't find them or they're on back order. You could just do them yourself. But definitely make sure you use some type of Loctite. There's like a Loctite 660, or you got this red thread locker. That's going to help you, especially when you're altering something that's from the original. All right, so please, guys, hit subscribe below and give me a like. I still need more subscribers to monetize this channel. I think I'm like 60 or 70 people away, so you can make a big difference. All right, give me a like, subscribe. I'll see you next time.